Born in Florida, Missouri in 1835, Samuel Langhorne Clemens had a life filled with great satire short stories. However, later in life, he chose the pseudonym Mark Twain. A few years after his birth, he moved to Hannibal, Mo. Like most boys his age, Twain was filled with adventure and curiosity. He would wander through the woods and write down what he saw. After a while, he started to work for his brother as a writer for one of his papers, Orion Clemens. He submitted his first known work, writing to a Boston magazine. The piece was called Carpetbag. Twain started to travel up and down the Mississippi River, stopping here and there to submit writings to local newspapers while he was on his travels. In 1857, he met a man named Horace Bixby, who was a riverboat captain. Twain became Bixby's first mate for 2 years while they traveled down the Mississippi. Twain enjoyed this so much that he got his own pilot's license. His adventures came to an end when the Civil War was started. Twain then decided to join the Confederate Army for a brief stint. After the war, he moved out to Nevada, where his brother, Orion, received a government job for helping Abraham Lincoln's campaign for the presidency. While there, Twain didn't get along with one of the other journalists, and the other journalist wanted to resolve it through a duel, but Twain decided to flee to San Francisco to avoid legal conflict. He traveled along the western part of the country for a few years, contributing stories such as the celebrated jumping frog of Calaveras County. After that, he went to Europe and the Middle East. During this travel, he compiled and completed his book, The Innocents Abroad. Over the next year, he traveled a lot and eventually ended up in Connecticut. During this time, he published stories such as The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. He died of heart disease in 1910 at the age of 75. Mark Twain's writings were loved in his time, and up till today, he is considered one of the great faces of American literature. Here are some statements from this famous writer that can change your life forever. 1. The secret of getting ahead is getting started. I once told the story of a little boy, William Kamkwamba, born in the small village of Malawi at the time when there was a drought and all the crops were dying and hunger was looming in the village because there was no rain. This little boy decided he would solve the problem. How? He had been chased out of school because his parents could not afford school fees. However, he would sneak into the school library to read books. From reading these books, he discovered he could find a solution to the village drought problem. Instead of waiting for rain, while most of the villagers were leaving the village already, the boy started to build a device that would help to generate water from the ground. Soon, there was water in the village, and crops started to grow again. If you want to get ahead in life, get started. We often wait for opportunities to come to us, especially when we're going through challenges. We hope that things will change and sometimes are tempted to stay back and do nothing. But I have found that waiting does nobody any good. If you have a dream in your heart or there is a problem before you that needs a solution, just a decision to take action will move you forward to solving that problem. Sometimes we wait for everything to become perfect before we get started. No, things will never become perfect, but taking little steps in the direction of your dream will bring you closer and closer to achieving that dream. Better get started roughly than to wait till all is set before you. 2. There are basically two types of people. People who accomplish things and people who claim to have accomplished things. The first group is less crowded. The top is less crowded. The status quo is overcrowded. Think about this. If you ask all the people in your neighborhood if they wanted to succeed, they all would say yes, but it is the easiest thing to talk about than to do. Doing requires hard work, while talking does not. It is okay to talk about your plans, but always be willing to follow up on your plans with action. It was the hardest thing for me to rise up very early this morning to write 2 scripts for 2 videos that would be published on this channel. But I knew I had to do it because I believe you either do what you're supposed to do or what you're supposed to do remains undone. If you don't do what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it, it doesn't change the fact that you won't eventually do it. It only makes it tough for you when you're finally ready to do it. You can join the group of talkers who only talk about what they want to accomplish or choose to accomplish things before you talk. We all have to make that decision in our lives. 3. Apparently, there is nothing that cannot happen today. You may have lost yesterday, but you still have today to get started on your dreams. It is the easiest thing to dwell on the mistakes of yesterday, to worry about the failures you had in the past and how it is affecting you now. You can't do anything about yesterday, but you can do something about today to put you in a better place tomorrow. 4. If it's your job to eat a frog, it's best to do it first in the morning. And if it's your job to eat 2 frogs, it's best to eat the biggest one first. Your morning is the most important part of your day, so you ought to spend it on the most important things in your life. I learned that if you have not done what's most important to you before 10 a.m., you may have wasted the day. I learned this lesson a long time ago, and it's kind of changed the way I work afterward. Although it was tough, I would list all the things I needed to do and start with the most difficult. It is difficult to procrastinate when you know you have to do something difficult. So if you start with the easiest, you may procrastinate easily. Do the difficult things first to forestall chances of procrastination. Do what is most difficult to do first, and then do other things second. 5. The best way to cheer yourself up is to try to cheer somebody else up. The best way to achieve your goal of succeeding in entrepreneurship is to find solutions to people's problems. The people who have enjoyed repeated success have found that success comes when you help others achieve success. The best business provides solutions to people's problems. If you cheer others up in your business or your service, it is only natural that they pay you well. A successful business or a successful life is built around helping others achieve what they want. When you do, they will, in turn, help you achieve what you want. If this video inspired you, like the video. We love you.